Hello and welcome to my knife channel. Well, this one is about tiny knives. These are not micro knives. There's actually even smaller knives than this, but this is about like the smallest size knife that's useful, that can be useful. And I've always carried something like this. This is not a classic. I think this is called the Executive, and the main reason is this file blade, instead of having a screwdriver, has a pointed tip, which works, for me, works a lot better getting underneath your fingernails and cleaning than a knife blade. It's dull. It works perfectly for that, but most of the new SDs, classic SDs have a screwdriver, a flat tip, which makes it awkward, unless you got like square fingernails. But anyways, the thing I mostly used on this knife was the scissors. I used the scissors more than anything else. It's got a halfway decent little pin blade on it. Some gunk on it from the last time I was using it. But the thing about these are, besides the obvious, that they're small and they don't weigh much, is they can still have a useful blade. They can still fit your hand, and most of the time, if you're doing things like what you would use a box cutter for, you're going to have a small blade. In a box, that's an advantage because you're not going too far in and cutting maybe the product that lies underneath it. And a lot of times, this is all you're going to need to open an envelope. Now, some people want a little bit longer blade to open an envelope, so here you go. You've got a little tiny toothpick. Once again, they don't weigh much. They're pretty small. You can even have multiple blades, like a pen blade, like on this Peanut. Sorry, I bumped the thing. And you might think, well, why would I want to carry one of these little things? Like this little mini canoe. Why would I want to carry that when I could carry a regular canoe? What's the weight, Yeah, you're getting more blade length, but you're paying for it in weight. And this a lot of times would fit in a change pocket, a little vest pocket or something like that, or a change pocket. And if you've got a really expensive knife, there's a couple of reasons for having a little small traditional. One is you whip this out and somebody will look at it and they're more likely to say, ooh, that's cool. Or if it's a woman or something, they might say, that's cute. Oh, that's a cute knife, You'll still be able to open what you want. Whereas if you go something like this, yeah, let's just open that up. It flips out, it kind of freaks people out. Even though this is a small, Civivi aluminum small blade, still, there's some people that just freak out about that. And you're less likely to have a positive conversation a lot of times than you are if you have something small, non-threatening, traditional. Even though this looks like it's small and non-threatening, in some countries, they can't whip their knives out because a flipper is illegal. And the lockback knife is illegal too in some situations. So even though most of us would look at that and say that's not a weapon, some countries, they think that's a weapon. So anyways, I'm really enjoying them. I really like this one. This is one of my most recent purchases. It's the Cub. And at first I was like, man, that is just too small, too tiny. Let's get some weights on these guys. We'll start off in grams. So 45 grams on that one. The little Peanut, 33 grams. The little toothpick, 26 grams. The little micro, 40 grams, or not mini canoe. This is a little Barlow, single-bladed Barlow walkback. Pretty cool. Your equivalent to that would be like, a Barlow. So there's your size and weight difference and everything. But this guy weighs about 36 grams. This little classic kind of guy, I think he called Executive, 20 grams. And this is just a little keychain lockback type of knife. It's not even a lockback, it's just a standard one. 23.4. Alright, so we can switch this over to ounces. Zero it again. Alright. 0.73 of an ounce for the little keychain guy. This guy, 1.6 ounces. The peanut, 1.2. Little toothpick, 0.9. Little canoe, 1.4. And the little Barlow, 1.2. Alright, so those are the small ones. Here's what a big Barlow would be. 3.2 ounces. Here's what a Trapper would be. 3.4. Medium toothpick. 1.8. And a small lockback. 2.4. Canoe. Standard canoe. 2.6 ounces. So you're dealing with more weight. They fit the hand a little bit better, you know, on a medium-sized knife. That's why usually most people, the smallest they'll go, they might have this loan to somebody, you know, or just pull out and cut off a piece of thread or open a small envelope. Like I said, they get down to being too small, and they get to where they're not even useful, you know, to me. But anyway, that's what I think about the little small traditional type of knives. Is they're always cool to have. Like I said, this one usually rides on my keychain. Every key on my chain has been replaced. I've had different cars and different houses and different jobs and everything, but this has stayed on there. I mean, that's the one thing that's stayed constant, because you always have at least a knife. I mean, not much of a knife, but at least it's a knife. It's better than like digging at it with your fingernails or trying to chew some package open. So there you go. Hope you found this a little bit interesting or whatever. Like I said, a lot of times I just talk about knives, you know. I've just been thinking about them. Last night I was just looking at these and just examining them and taking them over and saying, you know, your thumb fits pretty well on this thing, and you can get a pretty good grip, and you can do a decent amount of little cutting, you know, as long as you keep the knife up, the size of the knife up to the chore that you're dealing with. Small knife, small chores, you know, you'll be all right. You won't have any problem. The only limitation I would say the biggest limitation practically on a 2-inch blade or smaller is something like if you were cutting an apple, you know, slices. A longer blade, you're going to be able to get at least halfway to the core. This one looks like it would probably do it if it's a small apple. Whereas you're not going to have that issue with a bigger blade, you know, it's going to go through it. It still would have a problem with like a watermelon or something, which you get a melon tester, you know, or something like that. You can still do it. With a small blade, you just, instead of trying to go all the way through, you just make a good cut and go the circumference of it. But anyway, there you go. Don't want to ramble on too long, but just thought I'd give you a little daily dose of knife. Thanks for watching, and have a nice day.